Hi, everyone. We have author Vivian Hughes here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Well, hi, and thank you for having me. I am originally from Detroit, live in Dallas, and I have three. I don't know if you call them children because they're 21, 20, and 13. So I have two sons and a daughter, and I'm probably one of the few people who are actually accomplishing a lot during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yes, that extra time, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been writing?
Since I was a kid. But I didn't realize publishing anything until about 5 years ago when I started creating workbooks and journals and um, things that were smaller scale. This is the first time that I actually wrote a book.
Okay, and what inspires you to start writing?
Actually, it was always sharing and telling people different things about my life, and they just didn't get it. And it's not a lot of time in a conversation to share perspective because it's an exchange. So you can only tell so much of your story. So I felt like getting it out in a book would allow people opportunity to take it in at their own time if they had any questions about how's her and her ex-husband co-parenting so well. She just wanted to knock him out the other day. Like, so you're like, what happened? So,
Okay,
yeah.
so tell us about your book.
So the book is, grab it here, got it handy. It's All Me, The Modern Woman's Guide to Thriving After Divorce. And I started, this book probably took about 2 years to get in my hand. Um, it it was a process for me of being very authentic and sharing stuff that nobody really knew and saying it in a way that didn't pretty it up. Like I had to take all the lipstick off the pig. I had to put it out there and be vulnerable and transparent and take responsibility for my part. Not saying you deserve anything, but taking responsibility that these were choices that I made. Nobody forced my hand to do anything. Um, so the book is a opportunity for people to just take a step back and look at themselves as not the villain, not the victim, not the hero, just somebody who has some societal programming, some church programming, some mama, daddy, grandmama issue programming, and we all did the best we could, but we made decisions from a place of limited mindset, limited thinking. Like I made a decision to get married and I didn't even know who I was as a woman yet. And I say that in the book. I went from somebody's daughter to somebody's student to somebody's employee to somebody's wife to somebody's mother. And it was only into my 40s that I said, well, who am I as a woman? Because even in dating post divorce, I always kept some men around. Like I'm never by myself. Somebody gonna call, check on me, how you doing? Take me out to eat, give me some attention. And it felt so good to be checked up on up until I was like, this is all external. Like, why is that my validation? So, not that I don't want it, I love it. I still like it. I like when it comes through, but it's not needed. My joy is in me because I realize that it's an inside job. And it was a lot of tears, a lot of acne, a lot of bald spots in my head. It was sleeping on an air mattress, living in a townhouse that I didn't like, renting, and lost a lot. Like lost a lot. But then just the journey coming back around from the divorce and taking my ex-husband at the time, and it was like filing for child support, then deciding I didn't want anybody in the middle. I looked at my kids and our life as his opportunity to sow into his garden of life. And I'm not going to hold you accountable. That's not my job. So if you want to sow, sow. If not, you're not my source. My source is infinite. I'm going to get it. Now, it could be you who give it to me. So you can sow in your garden, but I'm going to get it. And once I made that switch, I got promotions. I got magic. I call it magical money. Like somebody passed away who was a really dear friend. I actually called him like my second dad. And he left me money. And I'm like, ooh. And then a job called and said, you have leftover pension here. They didn't call, they sent it in the mail. And I'm like, leftover pension? And I was able to buy me and the kids a new house.
Nice.
Just because I was like, you know what? I know where my source is. I'm not holding another human being accountable to me because everybody has their own story. I don't know this man's childhood. I don't know what he witnessed. I don't know what his parents taught him. I don't know what their parents taught them. So why am I holding him accountable? Because I did everything right. I didn't do anything wrong. You should love me. You should support me. We made a commitment. Girl, please. Nobody owe you shit. Sorry, but nobody owe you nothing. And that's the thing, giving everybody a pass to just do them. Now, if it works for me and we can dance together, great. If I work for you, great. But this whole process of the book was basically saying, let everybody off the hook. If we vibe, we vibe. If we don't, me being happy is not your job.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I need to read this book. I'm with you with everything except for the child support.
Yeah. And that's a personal preference only because and I had one girlfriend, I love her so much. And she said the same thing. She said, I'm not involving anybody else in this. And I was like, I kind of think I want somebody to get involved and to make him. She was like, nah, I don't even want it. All money ain't good money. I was like, whoa, I'm gonna take that approach.
Okay.
And I thought, but I need that. And I was like, yeah, no, you don't. It's a construct that you formed in your mind that he is your source and he's a vessel.
Yeah. Okay, so you talked about journals as well. Do your journals go along with your book?
So no, the journals were something that I did for different courses that I would teach on just women resetting and just taking a minute. So those were journals that I created there, but I did put exercises in the book.
Okay.
It's kind of journal-esque because there's always somewhere in here for you to reflect or do a meditation or write down a forgiveness letter and burn it. Like it's just rituals in here. It's the whole, It's a journal in a book. Yeah.
Nice. And where can we purchase your book?
Amazon. It's on Amazon. Now, if you would like a signed copy of my book, you have to go to my website. It's vivianhughes.shop.
And where can we find you on social media?
On Instagram, I'm Viv Hughes. Facebook is Vivian Hughes Elevate. And LinkedIn is Vivian Hughes. And I think my Twitter is Viv Hughes 606.
Okay. And are you working on another book right now?
Oh, no. No. You are actually the first person who I've had a conversation with about it, like from a marketing or a business promotion perspective, because I felt like I had went and did labor or something. I just needed a minute. So the book was published in November and you're my first conversation. So thank you.
You're welcome. Are you self-published?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations. How was that journey?
That was probably the easiest part for me.
Wow.
Yeah. That was probably the easiest part because I like going on Fiverr, getting different freelancers to do things for me. I created the book cover myself and I paid people to create book covers for me, but it didn't resonate. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go and create it. And I published through Amazon, which was a very simple, seamless process. So, yeah.
That's good. And what do you hope readers take away from reading your book?
The biggest thing is self-actualization, not giving away power, not creating stories and relieving themselves of the burden of resentment, to just totally let resentment go and erase victims, villains, heroes, archetypes, just drop them because they're too heavy.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I like that. How do you think being a writer has helped you as a person?
I think it's helped me to slow down and to listen. It helps me to not move so fast and go with my autopilot subconscious program to just react. I take a breath and I listen, because writing, sometimes I got stuck and I didn't know what I wanted to say. So I would start making up stuff and then I would go back and reread. I'm like, I don't want to say that. Well, it's because you were just trying to fill the void, fill the gaps. and get it done. Sometimes you just have to sit in it. And writing helped me to learn to just sit in it.
And do you have any tips for any aspiring authors out there?
Yes. My number one tip would be to be very authentic. And if you hire ghostwriters and editors, which I recommend because they can frame up your story, give you an outline so that your reader can follow it, because sometimes we write like we talk and it can be all over the place. So I do believe in hiring professionals to structure the story just so that the message can come through to the reader and it's not incongruent. But that, and just do it. Like, just do it.
And is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your book?
So in the book, I mentioned that divorce terminates a marriage, but it does not negate a family. It doesn't end a family. We're family forever. One of the titles that I had for the book before publishing was Divorced but Family Forever, Woman's Guide to Co-Parenting, because the children are so important, but so not heard during the process, because everybody's hurt and the hurt people are trying to protect themselves. So I knew I was hurting, my ex knew he was hurting. So we did a good job at defending and protecting ourselves. And sometimes the children were neglected in that process. And it was an awakening to hear from the children. And I even have them written, they wrote a passage in the book. So each of them have their story, telling it from their voice, because I said, if there's another mother or even father who's reading this book, what would you want them to know? And they said, well, from a child's perspective, you know, we love both of y'all. And I mean, they wrote it all out, and they kind of let us know, like, both of y'all wrong. Nobody's walking on water here. Like, at the end of the day, who's looking out for us? And I also write in the book that the children can be very manipulative. They can play these two people against each other very well. So helping them to understand that very unhealthy behavior is not gonna fly.
Right.
Because sometimes I got too lenient. I was way too lenient on some things. And one of my girlfriends would be like, you realize your kid's playing you, right? And I'm like, no, such as such. Like, girl, especially your daughter, she is playing you right now. And then she's gonna go over there and play her daddy. And so my daughter to this day, Lauren, she's like, I don't think I did that. I'm like, yeah, I think you did. So, one last thing that I will say is my ex-husband passed away 2 years ago. And we had always talked about coming together to write down how we do it. Like, how do we do this? How do we get to the place to where, like, I hate you, to I got you. Like, I'm going on dates like, hey, this dude's license plate number is this. I really don't know a whole lot about it. And then people be like, well, why are you telling your ex-husband a dude's? Because at the end of the day, he and I are still partners forever. We're going to be grandparents together. We're going to be great grandparents together. So we thought. So I will say, don't spend time fighting and harboring resentment, because you don't know if this is really still going to be the partner in this thing with you. And women, make sure you have life insurance policies.
Yes.
We didn't have one. So that was not a good look to have to parent grieving children and still have to work. It would have been real cool to be able to just stay home, take the kids on a vacation somewhere, just do something else other than have to juggle a job and children, and they're in school and trying to be a woman who has to figure out how to be both mama and daddy. And I was more of the disciplinarian, and he was like the loving one who's always there. You forget your lunch, no big deal. He's gonna go get it and take it to him. And I'm like, nope, too bad. You'll remember your lunch tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, now I got to be warm and fuzzy, and that's really not how I'm a regimented person. Let's do it. And so it was a lot. So we all had our nice little therapy sessions. But that's, yeah.
I definitely commend you. Thank you so much for being so open and transparent. I can't wait to read your book, but I'm already commending you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you for joining me. All right, everyone. That was author Vivian Hughes telling us about her book. Make sure you go out and purchase a copy, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video below.